Ethan sat in the dimly lit room staring at the flickering screen of his laptop. His fingers hesitated over the keyboard as his mind raced with thoughts of betrayal and secrecy. He had never imagined he would be in this situation, questioning everything. He knew about the woman he loved, but here he was watching hidden camera footage that might change his life forever. The past few months had been strange. Lila had always been a loving and devoted girlfriend, but lately something felt off. She would come home late, her phone always on silent, and when Ethan asked about her whereabouts, she would give vague answers that left him feeling more confused than reassured. His gut told him something was wrong, but he didn't want to be the paranoid boyfriend who jumped to conclusions. Then one evening, his best friend Marcus dropped a bombshell. He had seen Lila at a high-end restaurant across town, dressed in an outfit Ethan had never seen before. She was sitting with a well-dressed older man, laughing and leaning in close in a way that suggested deep familiarity. Ethan felt a wave of nausea hit him as Marcus showed him a photo he had taken from a distance. There was no mistaking it was Lila, and she looked like she was leading a life Ethan knew nothing about, determined to uncover the truth. Ethan decided to take drastic measures. He reached out to a private investigator who specialized in cases like this. The investigator agreed to follow Lila and gather evidence if she was innocent. Ethan could finally put his doubts to rest, but if she wasn't, then he needed to know the truth no matter how painful it was. Days turned into a week, and then the investigator handed Ethan a file containing everything he had discovered. What he saw made his heart pound with disbelief and fury. Lila was living a double life during the day. She was the sweet, caring woman Ethan had fallen in love with. But at night, she transformed into someone else entirely. She was meeting the same older man multiple times, staying at luxurious hotels, driving an expensive car Ethan had never seen before, and even using a different name. Ethan felt like the ground beneath him had disappeared. How could she do this to him? Why had she kept this a secret? Was it for money? Was she involved in something dangerous? His mind was flooded with questions, but he knew he needed answers, and there was only one way to get them. That night, he confronted Lila. He placed the file on the table and watched as her face turned pale. She opened it with trembling hands, her eyes scanning the photos and reports. She looked up at him, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came out. Ethan's voice was low but firm. "Tell me the truth. Lila, who is he? What have you been doing behind my back?" Tears welled up in her eyes, but Ethan wasn't sure if they were from guilt or fear. She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "Ethan, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is," he demanded. Lila took a deep breath and began to unravel the truth. A truth so shocking, Ethan wasn't sure if he was prepared for it. She had been working as an undercover journalist, investigating a high-profile businessman who was involved in illegal activities. She had to gain his trust to get the evidence needed to expose him. She had kept it a secret to protect Ethan because the people she was dealing with were dangerous. Ethan felt his anger waver, replaced by a mix of relief and concern. If what she was saying was true, then she had been risking her life for months. Without telling him, part of him wanted to be angry that she hadn't trusted him enough to confide in him, but another part of him admired her bravery. "But why not tell me?" he asked softer now. "Wanted to, but I couldn't risk it. She said if they found out I had a weakness, they would use it against me, and you were my greatest weakness." Ethan exhaled, feeling the weight of the situation. Lila wasn't living a double life because she was betraying him. She was doing it to uncover the truth, to bring justice. He reached across the table, taking her hand in his, as a sense of understanding settled between them. The truth had been exposed, but it wasn't what Ethan had expected, and now he had a choice to make: stand by Lila as she finished her dangerous mission, or walk away from the woman he loved. Looking into her eyes, he knew there was only one answer. Ethan made his decision. He would stand by Lila no matter the risks. Together, they formulated a plan to ensure her safety and complete her investigation. Ethan suggested they involve authorities, someone they could trust to provide backup, but Lila was hesitant. She knew that if the wrong person got wind of their plans, everything could fall apart. One evening, after a tense discussion, they agreed on a strategy. Ethan would act as a decoy while Lila gathered the final pieces of evidence. They set up a meeting with the businessman in question, pretending that Lila was ready to commit to his illicit dealings. Meanwhile, Ethan stayed close by recording everything from a hidden vantage point. The night arrived, and the tension was unbearable. Lila met the man at a secluded private club. Ethan watched through his concealed camera, his heart racing as the man placed a briefcase filled with documents on the table. This was the proof they needed. But just as Lila reached for it, the man's expression darkened. "You're not who you say you are," he murmured, his voice laced with suspicion. Ethan's grip tightened around his phone, ready to intervene at a moment's notice. Lila held her ground. "I don't know what you mean," she said smoothly. The businessman smirked. "I do my research. You've been asking too many questions. People like you don't just appear out of nowhere." Lila's pulse pounded, but she forced a calm smile. "I just want to be sure I'm making the right investment." Before the man could respond, a sudden crash echoed through the club. Marcus and a team of undercover officers stormed in. Guns raised, "Get on the ground," one of them shouted. Chaos erupted as the businessman's bodyguards attempted to flee, but they were swiftly apprehended. Lila exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding as Ethan rushed into her side. "Are you okay?" he asked, his eyes scanning her face for any sign of distress. Lila nodded, exhausted, but relieved. "It's over, we got him." The businessman and his associates were taken into custody, their entire operation dismantled, thanks to Lila's bravery and Ethan's unwavering support as the dust settled. Lila and Ethan sat side by side in the quiet of their apartment, staring out at the city lights. Ethan turned to her and smiled. "I guess we make a pretty good team." Lila laughed, her fingers intertwining with his. "The best team." And just like that, their trust was rebuilt, their love stronger than ever. Because no matter what secrets had been kept, they had faced the truth together. And in the end, that was what truly mattered.